takes something out of you too.
It's more work to be in an Alexander pose, you know. It's work. I teach these guys out in this prison, and I'm always telling them it's like being a linebacker. I mean, it's like taking an athletic pose. Being a warrior means we think we're sitting here, and it don't matter what our posture is, you know. It doesn't matter if we're spiraling upward or spiraling downward, we're oblivious. But we think
we're oblivious. We're not aware of it.
Well, what we don't aware is you're either going up or you're going down, which I would like to compare to a life and death situation. A good example of this is when you're riding a horse. Your name is Christopher Reeve, and you're riding a horse, and this horse is going along here, and maybe you have a moment of lapse, or maybe you're not quite as trained as you thought you were. This horse, for no reason whatsoever, has this strange, it's all connected to something, but the horse thinks for some reason, he hears a noise, let's say, and he thinks there's a tiger about to put his claws into his ass and be eaten, which we have similar. It may be lions or tigers, it may be our wife or our boss or the guy trying to pass us. Anyway, that horse, just for no reason, from our point of view, there was no reason. Maybe if you were really skilled, you would have been there, and you would have. But when the horse thought it, you were there, and you. Plus, your seat was so fantastic. Your athletic posture was so fantastic. Your seat on that horse, that you're one with that horse, so he can do what he wants, and your ass is going with him. If you don't have that athletic posture, then
you get thrown.
Dead. Head plant in the sand, broken neck, or dead. Take your pick. We don't see it that way, but things happen that way. Things happen very suddenly. And if you're going to be a warrior, you learn this athletic pose, which is very relaxed up here, which is a warrior seat here. You can learn on the meditation cushion easily, but you need a little instruction maybe, or maybe not, Maybe just the little tidbits you hear, you can get it all. But let me tell you, I can take you there so fast. I can give you a lot of hints how to get there, what it looks like. And I can do it in Alexander class, or I can do it in meditation class. It's all kind of the same thing. It's a warrior seat, but the warrior seat is incomprehensible without a good head and shoulders. Without good head and shoulders, you need a warrior seat like a bucket of warm spit. I'm closed everywhere. Now, why do you want me to go do all this work to support a open energy system when all I want is a closed energy system? Fuck you, You're insane. As soon as you gain an open energy system, all of a sudden the world is coming to you with the challenge of a lifetime, and you need the warrior seat, or things just happen on the cushion fast. Thoughts and emotions happen fast. And the things that provoke thoughts and emotions happen fast. You need a warrior seat. You need to be wide awake and chill and totally one with your environment, but you also need to be ready for what comes. Ready to go this way if you need to, or that way. And it just supports the energy. It supports.
Yeah, it's energetic. It really is.
It's like that lotus flower whose roots are in the mud, but they're supporting this beautiful flower. It's not My roots are in the mud, but I got a beautiful seat on my horse, which is what my roots in the mud are, essentially, is my effort. My Lu principle. Lu means hard workers and not allowing the servant principle to cheat you all the time. Right now we're cheated all the time by our hard-working servant principle, which we don't got. We got to develop this hard-working servant principle, which will do anything to support the king. The head and shoulders, the law, with a beautiful heart, tender, soft, vulnerable, a tear in the eye, broken-hearted, because the whole thing is wackadoo in a way. And you're alone on your throne with nobody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this for how many years, and how many people can I talk to really about what I've learned? Almost nobody. I mean, I have been able to talk to a lot of people, but
as I'm doing this work, I have to be open to the perceived fact that sometimes my body knows something before my mind does. And by being aware of how my body is locking up and frozen or pain, that rather than trying to suppress it or ignore it, that there's information there, there's a message there. And if I'm open to it, if my awareness will allow it, it can lead me towards a greater ease or freedom.
one of my greatest teachers, I've had some great teachers. My lineage, there was Alexander. In his first class, there was Marge Barstow. And for various reasons, she went off and, she was very involved. FM and AR were brothers. AR, just like he said, Alexander put his hands on me for 15 minutes and I learned it, and I was off. I didn't need any more. And AR brought it to America, really. FM was in England, AR was in America. And Marge Barstow was his consort. They were doing it together. They did a lot of work they started children's school in New England. Some hope, there's a hope for the future that Alexander will really get picked up by, and it has some places, England particularly, where our children's school will have Alexander as the curriculum. That should have been the curriculum of the United States. That's a little different story, but the United States curriculum was designed by an Alexander student named John Dewey. Everything he said was adopted, but they took out Alexander and they put in sports. Nothing wrong with sports, but they should have left in Alexander too. Maybe one day, someday we will, hopefully. Anyway, they were. But then her father was very wealthy, owned a lot of agricultural businesses, mills and farmland and horses, and very wealthy. And he gets sick, and she comes home to run the farm in Lincoln, Nebraska, and kind of is out of it for 15 years. So there's this whole thing that goes on over here, and she's left out of it. But then she starts teaching every summer, teaching Alexander, and hundreds of people, dozens of people come, and she becomes, maybe there's 5 schools, maybe there's, from those 5, her being one, well, those 5 have split up from there. Every teacher, great teacher, almost has his own school, just like Buddhism in a way.
Yeah.
So I've kind of followed her lineage. Most people I've studied with have been taught by her or associated with her. But Miguel Morales is one of her students. And he's been, I think he's the greatest Alexander teacher in the world, one of them. But he didn't really have that much success in a certain way monetarily. He was living in New York City. He had another job. He was creating music for dance. He was a composer, musician. But he would, summers especially, and he taught, he taught a good deal in New York City, but he just never could make a lot of money doing it, He made some money in the summertime, but recently when he started doing online stuff, he had some students in Japan. And the only practical thing to do was, let's do something online, and nobody had ever done it really. And he developed a program. Anyway, one of his aspect of his program is just to say to yourself, where do I notice a little bit of ease? Where do I notice ease? So it's noticing. Then you can do a movement. And what did that do? How did that change things? What do I feel like after that? Now where do I notice a little bit of ease? So it's just noticing and then engaging in life, essentially.
Yeah.
Noticing, take a little step out into life and notice and see what happens.
Okay.
And do it again. All right, we're going to close. Maybe we'll just do it with about number 2.